Welcome to the Crowned Medium with your host, Lorenda Carr.
Hello, everybody. Hello. All right, welcome in. We're getting started here. Let me get all my devices happening. all the things going. I want to welcome all my viewers in. We're getting all the technology set up here. And my name is Lorenda Carr, the Crowned Medium. Oh, geez, I forgot my crown. What the heck?
Oh my goodness.
I know. I can't even get my life together here. I forgot my crown. That's what happens when you get a cold, right?
Maybe you don't even need the physical crown. It's just obvious.
Yes. It's my big Leo energy. I just have a crown at all times.
Oh, I should have known you were a Leo. That makes sense. Yes.
Doesn't it?
I love it.
All right. Yeah. So welcome in, everybody. So if you're in TikTok world, tap the screen, do all the things. You know what to do over here. Share the live. Good morning, Alicia. We are getting started here. Hello, Lucas, over in the YouTube world. And we've got people joining us from all over the place today. We had a very special guest named Carr Goodwin, and she's actually is the host of Soul Elevation podcast, where she explores ascension and spiritual awakening, energy healing, extraterrestrial connections, which I'm fascinated. I can't wait to talk about all that. Expanded consciousness. She's an incredibly gifted energy healer, meditation guide, author of The Authentic Awakening, a guide to everyday spiritual living. Carr and I actually have crossed paths personally and professionally quite a few times. She was my very first multidimensional channeled healing. I don't want to call you a client because you were more like an experiment.
Yes.
It was kind of like, well, we want to try this thing.
Yeah, the by proxy.
Yes,
so you were doing it on my behalf.
Yes. And we didn't even know if it would work. We had no idea.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a really cool full circle. I've been on your podcast a few times, and now that I've got this gig, I'm like, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
To have you on, and you live locally, so I've actually met you in person, which is amazing. So welcome, Carr. Good morning, Yessie, over in TikTok world. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on, and let's talk. We have so many things to talk about. I haven't talked to you for so long, and we were trying to catch up briefly before the show. And you have so many things going on, and I want to make sure to touch base on all of them. But I want to go back to kind of the very beginning so people can get to know you. Tell me a little bit first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, but also like what made you go, I have an idea. I'm going to do all these cool things in the spiritual realm. Like, did you just wake up one day, or were you born as a child knowing this? Or tell me about your journey. I want to hear all about it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I've been so excited to do this and connect with you because, like you said, we've connected in so many ways, and we're local to each other. So we've gotten to see each other in person, which in my world doesn't happen that very much. Very much.
True. Very
true. But my origin story, I would not say that I had the type of skills that I have as a child necessarily, but I have always had these interests in terms of spirit and the mystery, that they're like always kind of being curious about mysterious elements of reality. So, one example of that is like, I remember in 6th grade, we learned about ancient Egypt and these pyramids, and I found social studies so boring.
Right.
But I couldn't get enough. Like, I was devouring the textbook, this one chapter on Egypt. And I was like, what? They don't know where these came from. It doesn't look anything like what I see in, the regular world. And they say they're, at this point, they're saying they're like a couple of 1,000 years old, or however much that the mainstream says they are. And
right.
You learn more about it. And it's like, well, they're way older than that.
Right.
And UFOs, I was a child in the 80s, and in the 80s and 90s, UFOs, there was something going on. People were talking about abductions a lot. You remember like Geraldo and those like daytime TV shows?
Yes.
And it was like a really common, who was the other one? Was it like Joan Rivers or something? Did she have a talk show?
She did. Oh, she was all
Yeah.
into this stuff too. Yes.
Yeah. And they'd have these like abductees who had these really terrifying experiences. Those types of topics I was always really interested in. But when I got into, I want to say like my 20s, kind of mid 20s, for about probably a 10-year period, I went through a phase of change where when I look back, I'm like, I think I felt that I outgrew those things. And like I became more of a grown up in like so I wasn't surrounded. I actually lived in England. I didn't even live here in my kind of regular native environment.
Yeah.
And so I met all new people, and they really like when I lived here, I had people that I could kind of unpack this sort of stuff with, and we were interested in talking about ghosts and kind of the paranormal, supernatural types of things. That was always like my fallback. If I was in a social setting, I'd be like, well, do you have any ghost stories? Like when you're trying to get to know somebody.
Okay.
So I was always interested in it. But when I moved to England, I would come up against like nobody really wanted to talk about that. It wasn't really interesting to the people that I was hanging out with.
Okay.
And you kind of learn from your environment. So I let that part of myself go, or buried it or whatever. And kind of just based on my environment felt that it was silly or it wasn't, real or whatever.
Right. Maybe it was juvenile.
Yeah.
Like you said, we outgrew it.
Right. But still always, so it's interesting because I speak out of both sides of my mouth, because I'm like, I was still interested enough that I was drawn to books that would talk about like the power of prayer, or, children remembering their past lives and all of these things. But it definitely was something that I held a lot closer to the vest, and definitely was not like actively trying to nurture that part of myself. And also I thought that it was something that you were born with. So in terms of like psychic abilities,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that was something that you could cultivate within yourself. And because I had not been seeking a relationship with spirit, with
Right.
God, I think that there also was an underlying unworthiness aspect to it.
Yes, I get that.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so all of those things kind of kept me very mainstream. I had a corporate job. I was in IT. And then I moved over to sales, but still like IT sales. Very right-brained, if we want to think about very left-brained, very analytical, very rational, very linear, and not, at all valuing the creative flow and the kind of cosmic connection type of thing. And what actually snapped me out of that, and looking back, it does feel like a sudden kind of snap back.
Right.
But of course, as it was happening, it was happening, at a slower pace. But I had a lot of things happen in my life that caused me to feel that the rug just got pulled out from under me.
Yeah.
So this was almost 10 years ago now, and I was actually living in Italy at this time. So I had left my corporate job. My husband had a job that took us to live in Italy for a few years, and it started with the suicide of my sister-in-law. So she was also a very close friend of mine, and it was just tragic. She was about to get married. She had 2 little kids, and it was just really devastating.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks after that, our dog died. And then a few weeks after that, my stepdad had a brainstem surgery because he was rapidly deteriorating. And of course, when you're dealing with brainstem, you don't really know like what is going to happen there.
That could go any direction. Yeah.
Right. Luckily, he is doing well now, but that was hard to go through too. And then my mother-in-law got hit by a motorbike as she crossed the street. So she was in the hospital recovering from that, and obviously had just lost her daughter. And then my stepmom ended up with she ended up in the ICU, and her heart was failing really rapidly. She went straight to the top of not straight to the top of the heart transplant list, but got worse and worse and worse, went to the top of the heart transplant list and had a heart transplant. That's what saved her. So
Wow.
all of that happened
Yeah.
in 2016. So this was another 1 year. We were talking about this before we started recording.
Yes, we were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember being on the bus in Bologna, and it was probably this time of year, actually, probably right around this very time of year, because I remember going, it is still 2016. How on earth?
How are we not in 2020 yet? Right.
Yeah. Or even 2017. How has this year not ended yet? It just felt like I was trapped in this nightmare and it wasn't ending. Yeah. Because literally every time, I have to be careful how I use the word literally. I'm not a teenager. I know what it means, right. But sorry, teens. But it really felt like every time I answered the phone, something devastating had happened. And it really was I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, my dad's calling me. It's the middle of the week. Cause we would talk, we kind of would talk on the weekends and stuff. And I'm like, wait, it's Wednesday and my dad's calling me. This must be bad. And then I was like, no, he just wants to check in because so much has happened. And don't go down that path where you start to be, PTSD when the phone rings.
Yes.
So I answer the phone and it's, are you sitting down type of thing. And it was just like, are you kidding me? And then we were also living abroad. So we weren't even able to very easily be with our family. My in-laws are in England and my family is here in America. But I really was like, what in the world is going on? And I felt that in order to help me cope with what was happening, that meditation would help me. And I'd been drawn to meditation. I had tried meditation and I had thought that it was something that was powerful and would kind of nurture those parts of me that I inherently was interested in. Every time I read a book or an article on the mysterious things that I was interested in, so often it came back to meditation.
Yeah.
But I had tried it and not felt that I'd gotten anywhere with it. So it was really because all the walls came tumbling down in my life that I was like, okay, I think I'm going to try meditation. I've heard it helps you feel more calm. And I had a lot of anxiety and
understandably.
Right. Yeah.
Everything's going on. Yeah.
Mysteriously, I felt anxious as my life came crashing down. But, and so it was through meditation that I ended up opening up more to this spiritual side. And it's funny because looking back, because of that journey of kind of feeling that I had outgrown that spiritual interest and had a much more materialistic view of the world in terms of just the prioritizing the physical and really thinking that the only thing that's real is the physical. I wasn't really, at least on the surface, looking for spiritual connection. I was wanting to feel calmer. And the monks who were teaching me meditation, they had this whole protocol about praying and kind of invoking before you meditated. And when I wasn't praying with them, I would skip that part. It was like, I don't know so much about that. I don't know if I want to do that. And so it's funny for me to look back and be like, wow, I was really resistant to that spiritual aspect of it.
Right.
And then I started having some experiences with, some inner experiences of, perceiving light or feeling my consciousness shifting. And I was like, whoa, there's something going on here. Yeah. And so little by little, I would open myself up more and more. And now that's why I meditate. That's the primary reason, is for that, to keep nurturing that connection, keep connecting to my higher self and pure source. And keeping myself kind of open to that flow. And so, a 180 from where I started with meditation.
Right. Like, no, I'm just going to calm down. I'm learning how to breathe. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. I just want to feel like the world, like the sky's not falling. Thanks.
Right. Thanks.
You know?
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So
And
that's kind of how I started.
wow. Wow. So would you consider that journey? Would you think of calling that an ascension? Like you ascended from the depths of I've got to just breathe to where you are now. We're like, I'm in this higher vibration. And
That's a great way to think of it. I haven't thought of it that way. I think of ascension, like when we use that word, I think of it as like this, I guess, like a bigger shift of consciousness. But I did experience a big shift of consciousness. So I think that it is a version, absolutely, of ascension. I mean, I really am a different person than I was, just as a byproduct of what I've been through. And I look back, and again, like, it seems like it happened fast, and it's happened moment by moment, choice by choice, brick by brick. And
yes.
so it's also this like gradual thing. So it's not, some people have what they call a walk-in experience, where they like don't even remember the day before, some in the more extreme cases where they're like, who I was is literally gone. Something else came in. I have new memories. I can't remember, like, and there are things that I do remember about other lives and so forth that I had no access to before. My experience has not, I would not call myself necessarily like a walk-in. I don't even know. I've heard a lot of people who just even dismiss that whole notion.
Right.
And I don't feel strongly either way. I've heard some really convincing stories where I'm like, well, there's something going on there. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But mine was not so dramatic that it was like I was one personality one day and the next day I was totally different and all these gifts opened up, and that wasn't my experience. So it sneaks up on you sometimes in that way of like, wow, you kind of have to zoom out and be like, man, I'm so different than I was. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that you could say it's a type of ascension.
Yeah, I would definitely, I would label it as a form of ascension, because your vibration is completely different. You are a different person. Your cells vibrate at a different place. And anytime we're connecting to the divine, you're expanding your consciousness, you're expanding your energy field, you're just expanding, period. And so when you're coming into that higher vibration, you're connecting to different people as well. So then it's really interesting when I run into people that I have not seen forever, for 10, 15 years, that I see them and I just can't even relate to them, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like you said, completely different person. And it's brick by brick. But think about it. How's a skyscraper made? One brick at a time, one stone at a time, 1 yard of cement at a time, however you want to look at it. And then all of a sudden you've got a masterpiece of this amazing building that can also house people within it. That was a really good analogy. Thank you, Spirit.
That was awesome.
That came out of nowhere. That was just like channeled information. And so that, I guess that's kind of how I see it. It's like we've built this huge thing, and I guess you get to a certain age where you hope that you're building it on solid foundation enough that someone can't just come along and strike it down instantly, And I think we are of an age now, Kara, that maybe we are okay with how our tower, the way that it's being built, So that I love. I don't love the journey necessarily, but I do love that you're finally in a place now where you can actually look back. And I think that, to me, is success. When you can look back and go, did you see that?
Yeah.
I just, like, dusting yourself off and and wondering how in the world, even my daughter has asked, she asked me a couple years ago, she says, what would your 14-year-old self think right now? If your 14-year-old self could see you now compared to where you were, what would she say? I'd be like, I think she'd probably pass out. or just go, nope, totally making this up, totally imagining this. Because, I feel like we physically change, we structure, all of our bodies, our etheric body, our mental body, our everything changes and evolves over time. But when you agree that part of that ascension and growth has to do, like you said, with those choices that you make every minute of every day, that's how you choose to react. It's how you choose which direction you choose every day to get to where you are now. So that to me is ascension, and that conscious choice of, if I go left, this is where we're going to go, and if I go right, this is where we're going to go.
Yeah.
That expansion is ascension.
Yeah, I love that. And what fascinates me too, looking back, we were talking about next year being a 1 year, this year being a 9 year in completion, and how things work in numerology. And I remember when I was still in my corporate job, so before my awakening, before we even moved and all of this stuff, I had a numerology session with somebody in Brown County, which you would know what Brown County
I
is.
know what Brown County is.
Yes. But for those who are in other parts of the world, Nashville, Indiana is this super cute, just nature, all these hills, and there's like an artist colony there. And it's this really quaint little area of a little treasure trove in Indiana. And this older woman, somebody, I can't remember who recommended her, but I had this numerology session with her, and I hardly even knew what numerology was. But again, there was enough of that spark within me that I was like, okay, I'm listening, I'm interested, I'll test the waters on this. And this woman went on and on about my role as a spiritual teacher and communication, and how big of a part of my life this was. And at this point, I think I was a sales executive for a huge company. And I'm always careful that, it's not hard to find my past, but blue chip company, everybody knows this company. And I'm like, and she's like, you are a spiritual teacher. You will reach a lot of people. You are going to and then it was also this communication piece. Communication is a big part of your work. And I'm like, I do write a lot of emails.
I don't get it.
I'm trying to configure what she's saying into the life that I know. And I'm like, okay, I do give presentations, and maybe they're going deeper than I think they are, but that's all the frame of reference that I had. And I didn't really have any spiritual, knowledge. I knew I didn't have anything at that point to share with anybody. And it was so disconnected from the life that I was living that it was hard for me to even
wrap your mind around it. Yeah.
Right. So you talk about the 14-year-old you. For me, maybe even at 14, I could have imagined this more than I could have at 35 or however old I was when I had that reading with her, where my life, I had created this very solid life and livelihood.
Yep.
That it was like, okay, we're going to have just a major, some sort of reconfiguration. I cannot even imagine how I would even get the foundation to be able to manifest what it is that she's saying my destiny is. And so now, and I don't even think I have a recording of this session or anything.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about it for years and years and years, but I just remember her saying, these things that I had no frame of reference for. And I just thought, this woman is awful at what she does.
I get it. I totally get it, because you can't wrap your mind around what they're saying, and they don't necessarily see it. They're just telling you what information they're getting, and what
Yes.
the numbers don't lie in the
Yeah.
universe. And I totally had a very similar experience. I'm like, I don't, you people keep saying I'm gonna write a book. You people keep saying I'm gonna be on stage. You people keep saying I'm gonna have all these things and I'm gonna be psychic. What? And
Yeah.
I couldn't wrap my mind around it because of the life I was living at the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and so you kind of, like, project it onto the person who's saying it. We're like, "This person does not know it, like, this
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense."
right.
So and then, of course, the joke was on me because
That's who you are.
right,
That's
now it's very accurate. And so, I think that also goes to show how we can get so disconnected from our soul purpose, and
Mhm.
how it can
Yes.
be, we can make these choices, choice by choice, brick
Mhm.
by brick, that keep taking us further away from what we came here to do. And I
Right,
think that is, you know, that is one way to look at where I was in my life at that time.
right.
But I do think that I developed skills, and even that kind of very mainstream history that I had, that experience of being very, you know, again, materially oriented, and I really mean that from like the physical, not like I was like,
Right,
"Give me the hundreds," or
right,
or what, "Make it
right.
rain." But, but just that, like,
That's burned into my brain now.
prioritizing. Yeah.
Make it rain.
Just me on a yacht, like, throwing bills everywhere, like, showers of bills. Um,
I mean,
but
let's be real, I would take that.
but just
I
that
would
material orientation, that
yeah,
physical orientation, and really kind of just not being willing to see the invisible, or to accept, even just to accept the invisible.
right,
So,
right.
it's really interesting to look back.
And see how I look at that is, especially because I do the past life regression and the multidimensional stuff, I look back on that part of my life, which is very much mundane over magical, is how I like to see it.
That's a good way
I
to say it.
I had that was part of my purpose,
Mhm.
because everything that happened to me in that first half of my life now is part of my Rolodex of information that
Yes.
allows me to be a really good psychic medium. Like,
Yeah.
because I can hold space for people. I can understand. Because I don't know if you know this, but Leos tend to be very self-centered, and and we tend to not understand what people are feeling, unless we are just like, or we take it all on, and then that's a whole other discussion. But what it did was it allowed me, I believe I came in with we all come in with multiple purposes, right?
Mhm.
If I'm gonna heal others, how in the world can I help heal people when I don't know what they're speaking of?
Yes.
So I look at it as, maybe I did sign up for that horrible first half of my life. Maybe I did sign up for that in order to fulfill my actual purpose.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because that is actually where I was going with the, let it rain type of, but that is, I believe, also the case where, I have been very boots on the ground, very, material world, and it helps me to be able to access that
Mhm.
type of mentality and thinking, and that like really heavy veil, to be able to relate to where people are, because people are, have all different types of levels of understanding and awakening and belief, and all of that plays into who they are. So I thank you. That's where I was going with
Oh,
that.
I should have let you finish.
Leave it to a psychic to complete my thought for me.
Right? And see, growing up, I thought that was totally normal that we could do that. I thought everybody could do that.
Exactly.
So let's shift a little bit, if that's
Mhm.
all right.
Yeah.
I want to talk, because you're really into the whole extraterrestrial connection thing, and you have a lot of guests on your podcast talking about this. Tell me, um, I don't know. Let's just talk about it. I don't even know I don't even know what to ask at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what do you feel our connection is to the extraterrestrial? What's the role? What's the connection? And how do you feel like you are, why do you feel like you should be bringing awareness to people? How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are good. Those are good ways to frame it. So I see ETs as being part of our spirit team. And not all ETs, in terms of, there's a spectrum, just like we have a spectrum of humans where there are some humans you don't want to, be alone with in a dark alley. And there are other humans that you go to for, your most vulnerable assistance.
Mhm.
And so I don't believe that everything that is in the sky, every telepathic communication that comes in is absolutely benevolent. But I do think that there is a lot of high vibrational, benevolent ETs, and that they represent a portion of our spiritual guidance. So whether we relate to the guidance that we have on the other side of the veil as angels or ancestors or spirit guides, or however we think about them,
Right.
there is a lot of evidence that there are also extraterrestrials as part of that. There are amazing ET healers. There are amazing ET ambassadors and council members, and they come from all over the galaxy, the universe. And sometimes it's just as simple as our human psyche isn't ready to accept that we have a connection with this type of being.
Right.
And so if we do feel contact with a guide, they may choose to show themselves in a way that we can relate to them, that wouldn't overwhelm us.
Okay.
And so they may show up as, our healer guide or our,
Yep.
angel. There are ETs that have wings and have, a lot of light and may not even have a physical body. And you may look at them and think, well, that must be an angel. It's got wings, it's full of light.
Yep.
And it may be an avian being or some other type of light being that doesn't have a corporal body. And so I don't know that it's necessary for,
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm responding to a TikTok question. I have
okay.
a question for you.
Okay. I don't know that it's necessary for everybody to even get on board with their, with that reality.
Mhm.
Because people may not, it may not be part of their path. It may not be important to them. But I do believe that this reality, that we are not alone and that we have assistance, and that there are also dark forces that are part of this phenomenon. It is important that we start to open up to this reality, and from a self-empowerment perspective, choose our narrative, because more and more this is coming out in the mainstream. We have disclosure, we have congressional meetings about it. And the truth is that there are human factions that want us to be afraid of
Right.
it. And the reason that they want us to fear it is that they can more easily control us through fear. And that goes across the board, whether it's ETs or not. But if we fear it, then we want somebody to rescue us. And we may give our consent to say we need increased security, we need increased weaponry, we need more resources going toward fighting
Right.
and segregation, suppression, for our own good. Please protect us.
Save
Well,
us. Right.
Yeah, but the protection that they want to do is really, it's under the guise of protection, but it really is to suppress us.
Right.
And also to have the power, so that we see them as having the power, rather than like, oh, maybe they can actually help us to become more empowered and to recognize the unity that we have within us, the power of the unity that we have.
Yep.
So that's, we want to be really careful about what is called disclosure, how it's coming to us, in the official lines
Right.
of information, what we pay attention to, what we believe, what we spread, and really, connect within ourselves to figure out what the truth is, because we're not going to get the truth out there. I mean, for many, many reasons. We could spend hours talking about the why, but
Right. I actually literally just did a video on this yesterday
really,
about the why, but when it comes to religion and beliefs
Mhm.
in religion,
Yeah, it's
and
very, very closely related.
yeah, and see this how I see from a very simplistic point of view. No, it's not simplistic because I don't fully understand it, but how I see like extraterrestrial spirit guides, angels, God, whatever, is that they're in dimensions, they're in frequencies, or they're in
Mhm.
different. If I put it into an analogy, to me, it's like, oh, radio stations.
Mhm.
I'm here on Earth listening to rock and roll.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, but the extraterrestrials from this particular galaxy they're playing the jazz station. The angels are over here playing the symphonic station. And when you're listening to one, you can't necessarily hear all of the other ones at the same time. Every once in a while, there might be one that crosses over because the frequencies get a little crossed, or you might be changing the dial a little bit, or my frequency might adjust and change to then all of a sudden I can see spirit, or I can see or feel or hear or detect things that are in other frequencies. So to me, it's not magical and mystical, it's science. It's I'm
Mhm.
changing the station. And so for us to think that we would the arrogance to think that we'd
Yeah.
be the only existing things in the universe also is just mind-blowing to me. But you're right. I think that's a really good point. Like, why let's create something scary so we can ask for the protection so we can control the mass. It all makes sense. Also, when it comes right down to it, you just follow the money,
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
because who profits from creating all these things?
Fear-based narratives. Yeah.
Yes, fear-based narratives, when really we can take care of ourselves. We can work together as communities to be healthy and happy
Mhm.
without having Big Brother um, come in and
Right.
rescue us.
Yeah, the meaning of the word, govern
Mm,
is control. When you govern something, the meaning of that
right.
word is control. Mente in Italian, in Latin,
Mhm.
is mind. So you put those things together, and what is the purpose of that
Yep.
faction of society? And I'm
Right.
just trying to be careful about, you know,
Right.
the words that come out. But
Yes.
um, so we want to be aware of the huge attempt at controlling our thoughts,
Mhm.
because a lot of the thoughts that we have are not originating from us, even if they feel. That's the tricky thing with thoughts. And as a channel or a medium, I know
Yes.
you're talking about this
It's that
frequency and
discernment. It's discernment.
right. And so, but that faction of society, of the human existence,
Mhm.
has a lot of tools beyond what they talk about, what they suppress, the information that they suppress, to help us to have thoughts that we think are ours that are not ours. And those thoughts benefit them. So this is where, again, this empowerment, this really coming into the totality of who you are, really bringing in as much of your authentic spirit, your
Mhm.
soul, letting that be what is in the embodiment. I just put
Right. The
I found
guiding
my
force behind your choices, honestly.
exactly.
Yeah.
I put a meme on my stories last night that I saw that was funny. That was like it had the Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, and he had like
Oh,
a third eye on
yeah.
his third eye,
Yeah.
and it said, "Remember, you have to do the inner work, not just the shrooms." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so true," because there is so much
So
inner
true.
work that we need to do to be able to really embody the truth of who we are, that authentic part of who we are. It's not just about having cool experiences and, oh, wait, I recognize that there was some kind of information that came in and it wasn't necessarily me. So I'm connecting with something that's awesome.
Right.
But there is all of this inner work, because I believe that the real crux of what we are here to do as souls with human bodies is that embodiment. It is that sovereignty. It's that autonomy of recognizing that we are limitless and we are free, but we are not in an environment that supports that. And so we need to, really embody the truth of that and allow it to help us to express ourselves as free, sovereign beings.
Right. And isn't it really frustrating when you come across people who, like, you're trying to embody this authenticity and this being, that the sovereign being that we know we are, and then you come across people who are not of that mindset. And
that's most people.
It's mind-blowing to me how
Yeah.
you're right. It is most people. But I have the most uncomfortable conversations sometimes with people, and you just wanna, like, word vomit and be like,
Yeah.
"You understand?" Like, and you can't, because
Yeah.
there's no elevator pitch
Yeah.
that is ever gonna change their minds.
Because it is that inner process and it is that choice by
Yes.
choice, brick by brick. And so sometimes it's like, well, where do you even start with somebody? I have this a lot too. And, I just had like a family, unfortunately there was a funeral but I was around, a lot of family, and I was around just a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so hearing some of the things that came out just as a, like just off the cuff things that they would say that were so showing how captured they are. But
Well,
it was just
and but also, like, we're here in Central Indiana, where there's a lot of belief sets
yeah.
that I just don't understand. I don't have a lot of friends these days. Like, friends that I really enjoy hanging out with, because they'll just say things. I'm like, "Oh, ow, ow, that hurts my spine. Like,
Yeah.
that hurts my etheric body. That hurts my aura." Like, that just, ugh, because they're
Yeah.
just so closed. And it's like, um, the SpongeBob episode, "All hail plankton. All hail plankton." I don't know where that came from, but that's funny. That's funny. All hail plankton. My children will appreciate that reference. No, they won't. They don't watch me. That's all right. That's all right.
This isn't for them.
It is. I did have a question from the TikToks, going back to the extraterrestrial conversation. Yes, he'd ask, are there blue galactic females with blue hair? And then I think there's a whole conversation that's been on here. Hold on, follow-up comments. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just scrolling, make sure. Oh, and Kimberly says, now this is what I like to talk about. Somebody else was saying, I've been getting light codes and light language out of nowhere lately and think it's the angelic. Hold on, let's see what else. I think I'm caught up on all the comments. Well, it just jumped, so apparently I am done with those comments. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I know you've interviewed a lot of people that work in the extraterrestrial realms and all that. What are your thoughts on the blue people with the blue hair?
The blue people with the blue hair.
I say yes, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I would believe so. I know that there definitely are blue ETs. The blue hair piece, I mean, I don't know for sure. I have perceived a blue being within my own realm that was very spindly, like very, very skinny arms, and it was blue, and it had a kind of a smallish head, but no hair.
Okay.
And I believe that maybe was a Syrian being from the Sirius system, but I don't, I believe that the universe is limitless.
Yeah.
And so there isn't necessarily a being that comes to mind. I believe that the Arcturian beings are blue. I don't know that they have hair typically, but if that is something that you're seeing and experiencing, I would trust it.
Absolutely. Well, and she's one of my people. So if
Yeah.
she's saying it, I'm like, girl, it's happening. Just
Yeah.
accept it. But and the other thing is too, I know I am horrible, but like, well, it's from Osiris. It's from the Nuber. I don't know. To me, it's like, I don't know. It's from 99.5 and I'm playing 99.7. I don't
Mhm.
know. Like I don't understand like the different galaxies and because I don't care
Mhm.
that much enough to
Yeah.
dive it because I know that's not part of my path. However, I'm still intrigued. And I think that was a good question because I think it's important to understand that if that's what you're seeing, and just like spirit guides, okay, if I'm going to liken the extraterrestrials to spirit guides, right? Um, and my friend Carrie actually talks about one of her guides, one of her master teachers is an ET,
Mhm.
but it's also a future version of herself,
Mhm.
which is that's a
Makes
whole other
yeah, that
it's a
makes total sense.
whole
Yeah.
other show, right?
Yeah.
She's an ascended master, right? Um, but I feel beings, energies, entities, whatever you want to call them, will come to us in a way that we can digest it
Mhm.
and see it and have in our mind's eye. So when I see my teacher guide, his name's Dr. Mike. Is his name Dr. Mike on the other side? No, he laughs at me about that. However, that's what my brain, the Lorenda brain,
Mhm.
named him. And I see him in a way that I knew him in another lifetime. Does he look like that on the other side? No,
Mhm.
but that's how I feel comfortable seeing him. And whatever I believe if we are getting ETs coming in, if we're getting angels coming in, they're going to look a certain way for whatever reason serves our purpose or whatever. There is a reason we see them in the way that we do,
Mhm.
or that we feel them, or they come to us in the way that they do. And that's just that's my hot take on it.
Yeah, I agree, and it's I think that they're more focused on helping us. And if it's going to block us because it's like, because, you go back to the religion thing, a lot of people who are steeped in religion think that these types of things are demons.
Oh, I
And
know.
that's the training. That's
Oh, yeah.
and that's another place where we can reclaim, you know,
Yep.
does that feel true? If you're having this kind of contact, does it feel demonic?
Right.
Let's utilize that intuition, that perception, our own ability to perceive what is happening and to feel into it rather than just taking this narrative that, again, if this is a helpful being, but it takes you closer to God without having an intermediary like the church
Mhm.
or the head of your church,
Right.
that takes power away from them. So, why would they want to nurture that thought within
Right.
you? They want
Right.
you to believe that these helpful beings are demonic
Or
so that
demonic.
you keep feeding into their system.
And ultimately, again, going back to show me the money,
Yeah,
as if you leave the church and that belief system, you're not giving them your money that they tell you you have to. Oh, it's a whole
right.
thing. It's a whole
And this is not a new
it's
thing. This
not
is not a new phenomenon. This has
this
happened for
century,
centuries.
millennia, really, if we're being honest. Like since
Yes,
the existence of man, if we're being honest, like
right.
creating power dynamics and um
Absolutely.
yeah, this yeah, I could deep dive all the
Yeah.
woo, get me. And actually right now I've got I posted a video yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. I've been sick for 2 days. I've kind of lost track. I think it was yesterday. Um, I have almost 10,000 views on it and people coming for me in the comments about how I'm a charlatan and I'm talking to demons because I said, no, Jesus was a medium, just like Matthew, John, Luke, any of the dudes that wrote the Bible, the OG Bible, not the version that we as Americans read, but that's a whole other deep dive also. And
Mhm.
they were like, "You're talking to demons and they just fool you." I'm like, "I'm not.
Yeah, I just
I'm
am
not."
finishing the Gnostic texts, the Gnostic Gospels. So these
Mhm.
are the Gospels that were hidden in a cave
Yep,
and just were found last century.
yep.
Actually, it might have been the end of the 1800s. And these were, not included in the the Holy Bible that we use today.
Right.
And there are contradictory things in there from what it is that we are taught and what's in our Bible. We have the Council of Nicaea. If you've never heard of that, you want to look into the Council of Nicaea, who determined what's included in the Bible and what is not. And, you just, again, it comes back to that discernment and that willingness to be in your own power. And this is more and more critical. The time has come
Right.
for us to stand in our power and for us to have that autonomy.
Yeah.
And this might be one of those invisible things that you've just been told from the cradle that you believe and follow what the authorities within whatever faith you're in are telling you. And that is something to be overcome on the spiritual path. That is not the end of the path.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, I had another guest on, Meredith Willits, and no, I was on hers. I was on her podcast. Sorry, we've been on each other's. And she was talking about it. She's like, I don't think we ever have had an original thought in our lives. The thoughts that come in are either channeled from spirit or they're pre-programmed.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So how do you take that step back and reevaluate what is your thought? What's coming out of your mouth? Like, what are you thinking? Is it something that you thought of, or is it because someone else told you, because they had a thought, because someone else had a thought? Like, where does that, it's just like, really, it made me go, oh, good point.
Yeah.
Even down to our language. If you think about it, like, we learn language. We don't speak on the other side necessarily. We don't speak English or Italian or French on the other side. We just exist and we just know things.
Well, that goes back to that light language that somebody in the comments was talking about, hearing that light language, because, I have had times where I'm in a really relaxed state and, not necessarily meditating, but awake, but relaxed. And I will literally hear what sounds like language, but it's really funny. I'm curious if you or anybody else has had this experience where I recognize that I'm hearing words.
Right.
And I'm going, wait, I hear language. And I'm like, is it English? And it's happening really fast.
Right.
Is it another language? Like, is it Italian? Is it Spanish? Sometimes it sounds like an Asian language, and I don't speak any I don't speak Mandarin or Japanese or anything, but it sounds something like that. Or is it a light language? Is it a star language?
Right.
And when I have the thought of like, wait, let me try to identify what this is, I can't hear it anymore. And so then I release that and I'm like, okay, let me just go back into listening. And then I can hear it again, but I can't intellectualize it. I can't judge it in terms of like, what language is this? Right. I can't pick up, like, even if I think it might be English, I can't hold on to it the way that, like, when I'm following what you're saying, there's a part of my brain that's engaged that is understanding it and then relating it back to my own experience and, just how we naturally work behind the scenes during a conversation.
Right.
That part of my brain turns it off. So it's really interesting because we're in that part of our brain so much as we go through our day. So it could be argued that type of thing is feeding us all the time. We've got this like input that's coming in, but we can't consciously connect with it always. I know that there are people who are clairaudient and reliably so.
Yeah. But also I think that goes back to the frequency crossover. What if you just, like, your station just got a little crossover and you're just picking up someone else's radio station and you want to tune in, you got the rabbit ears.
Yeah.
Now I'm dating
the
myself.
Foil on top. I'm with you.
And you're just crossing over stations but then the harder you try to, like, tune into that station, the more you lose, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about the little dial back in the day, trying to get in.
Well, and that goes into what our conscious awareness is tuned into. But, when we talk about the subconscious, there's all sorts of stuff that a bigger part of our consciousness is receiving that is not making it into our awareness of like, oh, okay, I recognize that that's happening. So, it could be that these frequencies that are impacting us, it has more input, just to your point, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes we perceive this and it's like, whoa, information's coming in. My human brain can't process it or recognize it, but it's
And going
fascinating.
back to what Meredith said last
Exactly.
week, was like, I don't think I've had an original thought in my life.
Right.
How much of this is programmed? How much is this just, I'm saying it, how much did I pick up subconsciously? How much do I just know from past life? Very interesting. I love these conversations. I could talk about this stuff all day long. I'm telling you.
I know, me too.
All right. Well, so tell me, tell the people as we're, it's about time to wrap up because I'm going to have Hannah in here in a little bit.
I know.
Tell people where they can find you. And of course, we'll put stuff into the show notes. But where they can find you, what you've got coming up. You've got your book. Where can they find your book?
It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Goodreads and all of those normal places.
All the good things.
Yes.
Yummy places.
Yes.
And then your podcast. Talk about your podcast.
The podcast is Soul Elevation. So I've got all my episodes out on soulelevationpodcast.com. And I've got I think I released number 530 today. So there's a ton of content out there.
It's good stuff. I love listening to your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And then all my stuff, you can contact me at karagoodwin.com. I spell Kara with a K if you're just listening to this. The book is Your Authentic Awakening, a guide to everyday spiritual living. And I'm on Instagram, Kara_Goodwin_meditation, and YouTube at Soul Elevation Podcast. And I'm around.
You're all over the place. I love it. I love it. So, well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful for you. And we should get coffee or tea soon.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Discuss the overtaking of the world. I don't know.
Solve the world's problems.
That's
Let's
right.
do it.
Through meditation. I love it. So, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna bop you. I don't know how to do this actually.
I'll exit. And then I'll just watch through the link. I'll watch you and Hannah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kara. And
thank
we will
you.
talk again soon.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. So great to be here. Bye.
Bye. All right. So now we're going to be bringing up my next guest. Look at me. I'm like a talk show host practically. Just call me Kelly Clarkson. We're bringing up Hannah McIntyre. You've got a crown on. Look at you.
Of course. I had to dig it out just for you.
I love it. Oh, and it's a pretty sparkly one too. I love that. I love it. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? Long time no speak.
Oh my gosh, we have not talked for so long. I think the last time you and I talked was when I was like, listen, I need to know how to book things. What did you do to get things booked? Remember that conversation?
Yes.
Yes. And
about
then
Deming.
About doing demonstrations. And then I was like, okay, you gave me some really great advice. And then I did it. I booked the thing and did the show. So, all right, let me introduce you to the masses, if that's all right. So, cool. And if you are in the tickety talkities,
it's wanting coins. That's why I'm looking over here so that I can join.
Oh,
hang on.
You can. Okay, and then, here we go. You don't have to do that. Don't join that way. Go into the guests. You'll see the little blue and the pink down at the bottom. The two people.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And hit a request. And then I'll pop you in. And you can just mute yourself on that one because they'll still be able to hear you.
Okay. You might have to give me instructions on that. Okay. Oh, here we are.
Here you come. It'll be echoey. You'll have to mute yourself.
There we go.
And then you have to do the thing where you can.
And on my camera.
You got this. We got this. And then you could be on everything, on all the things.
There we are.
Hey, there we are. I love it. So fun. All right. So this is my next guest, Hannah McIntyre. She's a best-selling author, two-time author. She's internationally recognized as an evidential medium. She hosts spiritual retreats, demonstrates mediumship live across the UK. And she has created this, she created a whole like social network. It's crazy. Called Spirit Social. She's also the host of chart-topping podcast Mediumship Matters, which I love your podcast. I listened to maybe like 4 podcasts, you and Kara, and then a couple other people, and Meredith. So that's only 3. And then my own. That's the best way to do that.
You got to listen to your own.
I got to listen to my own. It's critical thinking, right? And so what I love about Hannah is her just very refreshingly down to earth approach to mediumship, to spiritual journey in general. She helps people understand that mediumship is not, we are on the same page with this. Mediumship is not some rare gift. It's how we choose to develop it, how we choose to step into that. And it's a natural ability that we can develop. So I absolutely appreciate that about her. Through humor and clarity and practical tools, she helps people trust their inner voice and deepen their connection to spirit. So welcome, Hannah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. First of all, you just came out with your second book.
Yes. Oh, look.
I got to be careful
Sorry.
because TikTok will tell me I'm selling things and I'm not supposed to, and they'll restrict us. So I got to, but here's your first book that I'm not going to.
Quick, hide it.
Okay. So, and actually, you know, what's crazy is I will tell people that want to be on their beginning, if they're starting their mediumship journey, I will tell them to get John Edwards' Infinite Quest, because he just like puts the kibosh on ego throughout the entire book. But then also I'll tell them to get your book.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not kidding. Because it's so well written as far as like being, just understanding how it works and listening to your perspective and stuff. I got your new book and then I got sick, so I have not read it.
Oh, that's okay.
I've not read it yet.
It's a big book.
I know. I'm getting ready to travel over the New Year's week, and I'm like, and I always take a book with me. So your book is going on vacation with me. You're welcome.
Oh, you'll be so fed up with me by 2026. You'll go, oh God, enough.
So for the masses that maybe don't know you, I know I gave you that little bit of intro, but
just a small one.
Well, you know, I think you're awesome. So I'm just very thankful to have you on. Tell people a little bit about yourself, maybe a little about your origin story, like what I already know because I read your book. But tell people like how you got on this path.
Well, I mean, a friend at work got my grandfather through, and that sounds really simplistic, and it kind of was. I was at a really low point in my life, really wondering what the heck the point of all of this was. And I worked as a PA at a music school, and she just went to me one day, "Hey, Hannah, got your granddad here." And I was like, "Oh yeah, right on."
Cool.
Brought him through and said, "Come along to my circle." And I went, "Yeah, all right." And I thought I was going to watch other people work. And when they were like, "Your turn," and I was like, "No, sorry, no, wrong person. I'm an observer." And they said, "Oh, no one gets to observe here." And that is kind of how it started. So I'd always sort of grown up with that idea that spirit communication was like the ghost whisperer or medium on the TV, both of which I loved. You know, physical apparitions you could see with your eyes that spoke to you, that looked like they did when they walked the earth, and you would know you were a medium. So it was kind of mind-blowing to me that anyone could do this, literally anybody, if they put effort into it. And from that moment, I was hooked. And I have put mega effort into it, like a little boffin.
You have done, I will say you're probably one of the hardest working mediums that I've come across. You are not afraid to jump in and do the hard work and to face your fears, to face the trials and tribulations. Like, oh, look, there's another obstacle. let me figure out how I'm going to get over this. Like you don't take no for an answer. And I think, and I love that you and I are on the same page in regards to, I see mediumship first of all, I was the same way. I'm like, I am not a medium. I don't see the dead people. I don't see them. And it wasn't until like not too long ago in my journey that I was like, you don't have to see. Okay. I see it as we all are wired to do it. The gift is not, can we? The gift is, do we have the resources to do it appropriately, safely, fair, appropriately, I think is the word I really want to look for. That is in a trajectory of healing and helping, as opposed to being a dog and pony show.
Yes.
Look what I think
that there are many aspects of myself that I would never have thought were part of the mediumship journey that have ended up being the part of the mediumship journey. Like, I'm really good at communication. I'm really good at explaining things and talking through things, dumbing things down, and so for myself as well. And so that has really helped me on the part of my journey, which is the teaching, the podcasting, and all of that kind of thing, which I would never have thought I just thought I was a chatterbox that nobody could get to shut up.
I relate to that, actually. More than I think I'd like to admit. I'm definitely a talker. I don't know if you noticed that, which is why we have podcasts, which is why we do this, because we're talkers. So, although I find as I get older, I'm a better listener.
Yes.
Because what I found is people do love to talk about themselves.
Yes. Do you know what? It's really interesting to me when people are saying, like, do you tell people what you do for a living? And I won't hide it, but it's amazing how if you just say to people, tell me your story, that they will talk for 2 hours, and it's not that you just don't need to have the awkward conversation unless you want to. There's no requirement. You can just let them run with it.
Right. Yeah. I tell people all the time, like, if you want to go out and make friends, ask people about themselves and don't say a word. They're going to walk away from that conversation going, wow, that Lorenda is awesome. And they'll know nothing about me.
I know. It's funny how people really like you if you don't actually take up any space. What's that about?
I know. I mean, anyway. So as a teacher, I could, again, I vibe with and understand with what you're talking about. I don't learn things easily. I'm a trial by fire. Like, oh, you said not to touch that hot stove, but what if I did? And what if it didn't burn me? Like, but I find that being that person who has to learn the hard way or just has to learn it in multiple ways. I can't just read something or just hear something. I have to read it, write it, hear it, and see it, like all at once, in multiple layers for me to understand something. But I feel like that's probably made me a better teacher. And oh my gosh, I teach classes on this stuff. Didn't see that coming. But I'm sure you are the same way. You're like, I'm going to do what? I'm teaching what? Okay.
Yes.
And what would you say is your biggest obstacle? Not obstacle, that's not the word I'm looking for. When you're working with others, what would you say? I guess I'll use the word obstacle that you have to help others overcome that maybe you also had to overcome.
That it's uncomfortable forever.
Oh, good one.
I think everybody has the idea that if they do this long enough, it will become comfortable. They will feel safe. There will be a sense of security. I spent ages asking Spirit to make me feel safe, to make me feel secure, to make me feel like I wasn't afraid. And of course, that was coming from me. They can't take that away. And so I think that's the thing, that there's always some element of discomfort. Now, obviously, I can go, well, it worked for the last 100 demonstrations that I did, and it was fine. So it'll be fine for this one too. And I've got that kind of behind me, but I'm still nervous. I'm still pushing through. Those first few minutes are on me and only on me. And I think that is not talked about. You know, when I first started a while ago now,
just,
um,
just just a minute ago.
just a minute ago, you know, nobody was talking about being difficult, feeling difficult. Everybody seemed to have their shit together, know what they were doing, know how to do things. And I felt, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get to grips with this? And I felt like that was spirit saying they didn't want me.
Yeah,
And it took a long time for me to realize that that was just me. It's the
right.
human, it's part of it.
Your fear. It's just that
Yes.
little bit of fear, that negative ego side of ourselves that tells us like, why do you deserve to even do this? Or what are you trying to do with your life anyway? So yeah, I would say that's very like that's probably one of my biggest things talking to students also, honestly, is like when they're first stepping into that. But I like how you put it. It doesn't ever get super comfortable. There's always that moment, because I do platform demonstration just like you do. When you're and you have performing experience in your background. We're used to theater, we're used to stage time. That's nothing new to us. Yet you still have to pee right before you go on stage, and you're convinced that, okay, well, are you even showing up today?
Absolutely. Oh God, yeah. Every time. Every time.
Do you think
I
that
always
John
have the
Edwards
scene.
does that? Do you think any of those other big name worldwide mediums, do you
I
think that ever
think
happens to them?
anyone that cares would. If you didn't care, you wouldn't, would you?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, good point. That's a fair point. um, so sorry, I'm overcoming a cold.
Yeah,
I'm
me too. What
conquering
a
a
pair
cold.
we are.
I know, right?
When I
We're
was
just like,
watching your chat before I came on, I thought, oh no, it's both of
oh
us.
no. I know I got my stash of lozenges and my caffeine and my water. I think I'm good. However, all right. So one thing that I do love about you and your books, well, a book, but also what I did start the forward on your other book, um, is your is humor. You know, and I feel like that is something that you bring to your work so beautifully, is that you do keep it lighthearted. And why I guess I would ask you, why do you feel like that is such an important part of, I'm assuming it's important because it's everywhere, but why do you feel like that's important in your work, is keeping things
Oh,
funny and
well,
humor?
so many reasons. Number one being it's an energy thing, especially for a platform medium. So I think most people who have been to see a lot of demonstrations will know that I believe anyone can be a medium, but I'm not sure that everybody should be a platform medium.
Bam.
And
It's true.
and the reason for that is some people with the best will in the world, there are better mediums than me, evidentially. Absolutely. But
Mhm.
my God, if your audience is falling asleep, they will not give you any energy to work with. There will be no power. It will be a painful,
Right.
long, winded,
Right.
boring night. So I think humor keeps people engaged. It
Yes.
helps the audience to go on a journey with you. I think for me, when I first started this, I kind of had this, and I don't even know where it came from, idea that when people went into spirit, they became like watered down, boring little versions that
Right.
only spoke in parables. And, you know, when you get someone spicy Nan through who wants to hit people with a wooden spoon because she's annoyed about what's going on, or she's got opinions about their curtains, or she's got,
Yep.
they're so themselves
Yes.
still.
Yes.
And I just think that's really key.
Well, and
And
we
for
wouldn't
me,
recognize him. We wouldn't recognize him.
no,
If my grandfather, who was hilarious, came through and was like, "Well, hello, granddaughter," I'd be like, "You're not talking to my grandfather."
like if I came through and said love and light, everyone would go, who?
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 You
If
got
I
the
came
wrong
through and went,
Hannah.
yeah, stuck my fingers up, flicked the birds, and went, road rage, everyone would go, yeah, that's her.
Oh yeah,
And
you got. Yep.
that's the
It's
key, isn't
true.
it? That's how you recognize your person, not because they say, namaste, I have come to
Mhm.
hang out with you today. And I think that was really eye-opening for me. But also
Yeah.
because it's an energy thing, being who you really are helps your
Yeah.
mediumship.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree. And also just allowing that personality to come through. I have been on platform recently, actually. I have been on platform where other readers have shared the stage with me, and I've almost fallen asleep because it's that I there you have to have an engaging performance quality to you. And I will say that's one of the things you told me. I was like, before I step into this space, is before I was demonstrating for Camp Chesterfield, before I was stepping onto stage. Um, I mean, I was doing TikTok, but that's different. You don't have
yeah,
bodies in front of you. But is you do have, I do feel like you have to come with an entertainment quality. Otherwise, if you're all love and light, and I just want you to know that you're no, I was literally falling asleep on the stage, sharing
yeah,
space with another medium, 2 other mediums, and I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm meditating." Like, it was so bad.
yeah.
It was so
And
bad.
well,
And
funny enough, I was talking to students about this today because someone was asking me about meditation, and I said, meditation is great, but don't do it before you work. It's not supposed to be a slow, boring,
no,
soporific
no,
sleep. Why is that just consistently the thing that is taught? And it's the most damaging to your mediumship.
yeah,
Like, if you want to do mediumship, you want something that's going to make you feel active,
mhm,
energized, excited, bouncy, a bit of pizzazz. Put on some rave music, have a dance. Don't snooze your way onto the stage and bring snoozy energy with you. Ghastly.
right. Yeah, one of a couple of the, mediums that, when I've worked on the platform for the galas at Camp Chesterfield, they're a bigger deal, like, more people come to those. They will play whatever your intro song is. So naturally, I couldn't just be like, "Oh, play Fly on Eagle's Wings." There was no church music for me because 1, I don't know any of the dang songs. Like, I don't even know. I'm like, "I don't know, open the hymnal and pick one." It's not it, but whatever. I'm that person coming in going, "Play September." And then we're dancing. Like, "Do you
Yeah,
remember?" To get in the vibe because that's what gets people awake and excited and paying
yeah,
attention, and then I believe that ultimately, when our vibration as mediums no meditation, raises the vibration, spirit can connect to us, like, almost
absolutely.
instantly and can deliver those messages, and then what's really fun is when you can really embody the spirit and their sassiness and their spiciness, embody it when you're on platform. That's a whole other ball game and super fun. Um,
Yes.
so what would you say, um, and this is gonna be hard because I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What would you say would be one of your most memorable platform demonstration, like, messages or experiences?
I've had twice now
Mhm.
the absolute horror
Oh.
of telling somebody in the audience that they've got a sibling they don't know about.
Oh.
And that is squeaky, for want of a better expression. You go, oh, spirit,
Oh.
please don't make me say that. Oh, God. So I've had that twice. And one of them has actually come back and told me they found them.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, that is,
I mean, I've had that happen, but in private readings where I'm like, "I feel like you should be doing ancestry DNA
yeah,
test. There might be someone that's gonna find you." Like, I feel like and I try to put it the best way without going, "I feel like you've got a sibling out in the wild right now." But I've never had anything like that happen on
I
platform.
had this dad that came through, and it was, you know how sometimes you know what you know and you don't know how you know it, you just know
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they call that mediumship.
Well, I knew that I was driving a truck. I knew that I had a big lorry. I knew I was high up. I knew I had a big steering wheel, and I was like in la 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 in the, and then I just knew I was driving from one family to the next one, and
Oof.
it was just like that. That's how it unfolded,
Oh my gosh.
and and then you're in this sort of stage environment. There's a lot of people there, And you're thinking, if this person does, like, if they know this, this is great evidence. If they don't know this, this is potentially terrible.
Right. This
And you
could,
just,
ooh.
yeah, and you have to trust spirit. And that's why it's important, as I know you know, to know whether you're working psychically or whether you're working with the spirit. Because if you're working with the spirit, you can trust it.
Right.
So
Right.
you
Well, and
know that they,
and I'll tell people that all the time. Like, it may not make sense right now because in that moment, if they didn't know, what was their response? Like, I have no, yeah, he drove a truck, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, luckily they knew and they went, yes. But you know, it's that risk, it's that vulnerability to commit to the good evidence, isn't it?
Wow. Yes, and you do have to. I fully believe if you're going to step into this space to demonstrate or to deliver messages, if you are committing to being a voice for spirit, then you have to say what they're telling you to say,
Yes,
what they're impressing upon you. Otherwise, you're not doing your job at all. Like,
exactly.
you're not doing it right, you know? Oh my gosh. Okay. That I can't even imagine. I actually watched, the last time I went to see the only time I went to see John Edward in live is like, I don't know, 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. Um, I remember him talking to someone and he was like, "Would you understand, uh, something about a pregnancy or something like that?" It was like, "Would you understand da 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 child that da da da?" And she was like, "Nope." And he was like, "Yeah, you do." And like, he's like, "Do I need to go further into this?" And ultimately, like, she had her mom sitting there, so, like, there may have been some things that weren't supposed to come out necessarily, but he was like, "I trust spirit." He's like, "So I'm gonna deliver the message to you, and maybe, you sit with this, and maybe it'll make sense to you later."
Mm. Oh my
Be
God.
I know, can you imagine? No thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. I once I had this girl, and I knew she was only young and she had a baby, and I knew that her partner had passed.
Mhm.
And he took me, they were down a country lane in the UK in the back of the car. And I said, "Oh, you're kissing in the car." And then I was like, "Oh, you're doing more than that in the car." And
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's where they conceived the baby. Um, but she was like, "My mum's next to me," and her mum's going, "Oh no." But it was very funny and light-hearted. You know, it wasn't damaging. Obviously, her mum knew she'd had a baby. She knew they'd done the deed.
right,
The proof was in the pudding. So I wasn't shattering anybody's illusions of anything or breaking any hearts, but that was just hilarious.
right.
Just, I went, "We're in a car." Oh, and then I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
nope.
is
Yeah,
this
and you'd be
locked?"
like, with mom, "Nope,
Yes.
don't listen, mom. Mom, look over there.
Sorry
Don't
about
look
that.
at
Sorry
anything.
about that.
Right, can you go get me some popcorn?" Yeah. Let me finish talking to this nice lady while you get me some popcorn. Oh my gosh. Yeah, spirit will they will out like I feel like they will out us, but typically in a way that ultimately is helpful. They're not going to I always say there are spirit HIPAA laws. They're not going to show us exactly everything all the time, but they are going
Why
to
would
show
I
us
want to see it?
things to get, huh?
I wouldn't want to see it.
No, that's just it. I tell people that all the time. I have friends who are like, "Oh no, I would never have you read me because I don't want you to see what's going on." I'm like, first of all, rude. Second of all, I don't want to see it. No thanks. I do
Yeah.
not want to see in my mind's eye what you're doing in your off time. No, thank you. No, thank you. And I do try to explain people that when information comes in, sometimes it's actually my life that they'll show me to get me to say things, um, to say certain words, and it might be a completely different scenario for that person, but the words I say all make sense. So I call those spirit HIPAA laws because HIPAA is a thing here in the United States where it's privacy laws for our health records.
Okay.
So I call them HIPAA laws. They're privacy laws.
Love it.
So I was like, "Oh wait, you don't have HIPAA. You don't have
Yeah.
that
No.
deal." Nope. So all right, well let's pivot for a second or two. You you're just like doing all the things. You do retreats, you do classes, you do like, I really need to come to the UK and do one of your retreats. And I just need to tell my husband, like, oh, I'm going to the UK to do a retreat because it's tax deductible. But you came up with a whole social network called
Well, I
Spirit
didn't.
Social. Well, but still, it's your baby.
It is my baby. I took a risk on
Listen,
it.
in true Leo fashion, I come up with the ideas and I delegate them to make them happen. That's what queens do.
Well, I, it, as you know, social media, it's a necessary
Uh-huh.
evil. We
It
all
is.
know that.
Yep.
But obviously, on the meta side, certainly, the reach is just ridiculous. They've killed business, they've killed
Yep.
industry. And so I've got a lot of students who are now taking their first steps as working mediums who just cannot be seen.
Right.
And so that was kind of going on. I was getting frustrated with the lack of interaction. I've got 30,000 followers on Facebook. My posts are seen by about 200 people.
Yeah, that's my
Unless,
life. That's my life on TikTok.
and
Yeah.
well, TikTok have done it too now, haven't they?
Yep.
They got us, they dangled the carrot and then took it away. And I mean, I accept their businesses. They need to make money. They're not here to provide a charity service, but it's a
Correct.
frustrating. There's
Right.
a line. They've all crossed it.
Yes.
And so that's where it started. And I had my first book, You're a Medium, had done quite well. And I said to my friend, much to my husband's dismay, I've got some money from this book. I wonder what it's for, because I just knew it wasn't for me. I knew
Ooh.
not to spend it, but I didn't know what it was for. My husband would have liked it towards some bills or maybe something towards the house stuff. But I was like, no, it belongs to spirit. And then the idea came in. I was charmingly naive. That's what I'm going to say. I was like, oh yeah, that'll cover it.
Mm-mm.
It's very expensive creating your own app. Holy smokes. But it's marvelous. And we have got all these lovely creators on it who are doing free events and share. It's just got this, it feels like Facebook felt 10
Back
years
in the
ago.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, you haven't got adverts, you haven't got this spammy news feed. Obviously, it's for spiritual people. So,
Right.
like, as I can see from the comments, we've had somebody writing absolute rubbish on this live from YouTube while we've been
Absolutely.
chatting.
It happens.
Happens all the time. Doesn't happen on Spirit Social. There's no troll accounts.
Right.
There's no scammers. There's none of this faking, pretending to be somebody else
Right.
stuff.
It's a
I mean, I've
community.
reported over 50 versions of me to Facebook saying it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
me, and they've upheld them all and kept them all. So on Spirit Social, it's just away from it all. And if
Right.
I can just do one little quick, it's only
Yes.
$2.99 a month if you sign up by the 1st of January.
I love
And that's
that.
legacy pricing forever. It's an absolute, but and you get all the live events included in that. Barg.
There you go. And you don't have to deal with all the scammers and the
Yeah, and you don't,
and the
and
nonsense.
also for people who are quiet in their spiritual beliefs and don't necessarily want to do things in a public forum like Facebook where their friends will see it, they can pop on there and be under the radar
Right.
because it's only people who believe what we believe, which is lovely.
Right. Well, and that's what I was saying. Like you're creating a community, which is nice. And it's a safe space for people to feel like they can grow and learn and be in the company of others that are of like mind, more than
Yes.
likely. And that's hard to find on other platforms when it's just a melee. And yet, and I like, TikTok when I first joined was really good about that algorithm of putting me in front of people that I could really learn from and connect to in the community. And now if I spend 2.2 seconds on something because it pops up and maybe my attention goes over here for a second, all of a sudden that's what's flooding my feed because it thinks that's what I'm liking.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, nope,
Yeah.
not it at all. and then it just can't seem to get my stuff out into the universe either. So I think a lot of us, especially in America, when we thought when TikTok was going to go away, a lot of us started exploring other platforms more and putting time and energy into expanding our reach. And one thing I encouraged even my own people, though, I'm like, work on your ground game. What if social media just completely goes away or is no longer safe for Americans to be on? What are you going to do? Where's your ground game? Get out into the wild, find your ground game with real people. But I love that you've got this app because it gives people an option, I believe, to explore and to connect to other people. So yay, I love that. And do you feel like it's going pretty well for you?
It's going really well. It's mind blowing. I mean, the problem is I spend half my life in where I want it to be in 10 years' time, and I simply cannot afford to get it where I want it to be.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of weird thing where actually what I've built right now is amazing. And the people working in it, and I was just doing the January events. It's crazy. We've got circles, healing groups, demonstrations, free card readings, just so much stuff happening for $2.99 a month. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And I love the community feel and the interactions and stuff like that. But, there's lots of things that I want to add that we just can't do yet, but they will be coming.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think I feel like it's something that will expand and will do more of. And who knows, maybe some big deep dollars will come along and be like, we want to buy you. We want to buy this. And then it'd be like,
yeah, I won't. Cool. I'll be like, no, but can I have some money?
Right.
Free.
Right.
And no shareholding.
Oh, I could be a charitable donation. I could do that. I could definitely do that. For sure. So now I do have a question. So your new book, Spiritual Slaps Volume 1, is there a Volume 2 coming, I'm assuming?
Sometime.
Eventually.
I mean, it's a big bloody book, considering it's just the story of my development.
Right.
It's so it's the bit from my friend getting my grandfather through at work to me launching as a medium. So it's all of that story, the highs, the lows, the disappointments, the crushing defeats, and everything in between. And that was enough for Volume 1. So Volume 2, I'm not sure how, because when you start writing, you go, I'll add that story in, I'll add that story in. And all of a sudden it's some sort of humongous wildebeest of a book.
Right.
So there will be more, but I've got writer's fatigue.
Yeah. But listen, if Rebecca Yaros, the writer of Fourth Wing, can also say, I have writer's fatigue, then I feel like you can too. It's perfectly acceptable. I've been working on my book for 2 years now. You know what's funny? I have a funny story. This relates to you. I had started working on my book, just kind of laying out the groundwork of like, what do I want it to look like? Kind of playing around with ideas. Then you came out with You Are a Medium, and I read that the same week that I started my book, and I'm like, I don't need to write a book. She just wrote it. Damn it.
Sorry.
And so then I was just like, I just kind of started still writing down, like started a document, start writing down my thoughts and to give an outline. But you're right. Like the more stories that came out of my brain, I'm like, this book is going to be like 8 volumes and nobody's going to care that much. Like nobody cares about my life that much that I would do this and have to be like, just buy a copy for myself so my kids can have it when I die. Like that's all this is going to be good for. I don't even know if they'd read it. They may not even bother to read it. They may be like, oh God, my mom's always talking about stuff, and just be done with it. Like they wouldn't even care.
Funny,
but then I look at it as, all right, how do I write this book to be heard, to be seen, to share a message? And what stories do I cut out? Even though there were so many that got me to exactly where I am now, that made me want to write the book to inspire and give people hope.
Yeah.
to let them know that, like, you know what? Yes, I am just a normal girl from central Indiana, that had really rough upbringing. And here I am now, very different life. It's not a princess story necessarily. It's okay, so how do I tell this story? What do I leave out? What do I include that still gives a comprehension? So it's a lot, which is why it's not done.
Yeah.
2 years
And my
later.
advice would be to write it all, and then you'll know what doesn't fit. You
So
have to be so sick of your own story. Like, that's the thing
yeah.
about writing. You are so bored with yourself. How did I know my book was ready for publication? I didn't. I was just so bored of it. I'd given myself the ick. And I thought, if I have to read my whingy little story about how difficult it's all been one more time, I will just jump off a cliff. So that's how I published it. I just got annoyed enough with myself.
You were so like, okay, I'm done. Now,
I cannot read this chapter again. What a bore. And I got to the point where I didn't even like my own story. I just read it so many times, I didn't even know if it was interesting anymore. I'd gone from like, yay, this will be really great, to, God, what a whinger. Does she ever stop whinging? And I just went, oh, publish it.
just do it. Just do it. Get out of your own way and do it. Wow, that's funny. Okay, well, that's good to know. Because
That's the key.
honestly, that's kind of where I was with the beginnings of my book. I'm like, people don't want to hear this. Like, I don't even want to hear this anymore. I'm kind of over this. It's like, okay, I've already, when you go to therapy for things and you're just like, well, I don't need to talk about this anymore. I've already worked it out. But at the same time, I can say to you as a reader of, at least I finished your first book and have used it in my development classes, even like different exercises and as inspiration for people. I'm glad you wrote the You Are a Medium. And I can't wait to see what plays out with the spiritual slaps. And then I'm going to start harassing you for the next. I'm going to be like, listen, I'm going to need volume 2 because here we
Yeah.
are. We're going to need the whole series. So now let me ask, with your process, did you just like write the book and then have editors go in and be like, okay, listen, we're going to fix this, whatever. Did you have like a team of people fixing it for you?
I have a couple of really lovely people that Spirit sent to me, no doubt,
Okay.
who edited, who my first book is dedicated to, because they did all the editing just because they love me. And they are people who've just heard my podcast, and they were the most incredible people. I was so lucky because when I went through my first book, they were messaging me saying, you told this story on your podcast. Why is it not in your book? Because they knew my podcast so well that
Wow.
they could do that. But they both work professionally in publishing.
Okay.
Thank you, Spirit.
No
My
kidding.
second book, yeah. I sent that I had to do some healing work.
Oh,
So I wrote it, and I'd gone a little bit Daenerys with the dragon. And I
okay.
just
I
wanted,
love that because that's my motorcycle's name is Daenerys.
oh, there you go.
Yeah. So
I'd gone a little bit, burn it, burn it. I will take everybody down. You wounded me. This is my revenge novel. And I sent it to Kate and Jay, and I sent it to my friend Sue. And the feedback was, yeah, I'm not sure you want to publish that. And Sue said, you've written the book for yourself. Now it's time to write it for public consumption.
Ooh.
And I had to walk away from it for 6 months because it is a very therapeutic process when you're writing and you're
Yeah.
back in that energy of where you were and how, I mean, developing mediumistically is so vulnerable.
Yes.
And if you're with teachers that don't want you to do well, it's absolutely crushing. So I
Yeah.
had to go back into that energy of who I was and where I was and how it felt,
Mm-hmm.
and do some healing work. And I had to sit with it all for 6 months. I thought I was done, wasn't even close.
No.
And the book that you have in your hand is a more balanced
The one for
version
public
of events.
consumption.
Yeah,
Post therapy and post editing.
yeah.
And you bring up a good point, because honestly, when I first started my book, it was bringing up all those old stories, and I was like, oh, I thought I actually ended up talking to energy workers. I'm like, I've done the therapy on this. My brain knows that I'm over this, but why am I feeling this? Why am I taking this on? And same thing, I'm ready to burn down everything. Why? And so I ended up actually having to do some little work on the side. And I imagine it's good to know that I'm not the only one, and
I
that
think to write it, you have to go back into that moment in the timeline.
I
So,
agree, because it's gonna help you write it better, I
yeah,
feel like. Which also explains writer's fatigue, if we're being honest.
yeah.
Because then if you're gonna step into the next book, you're like, wait, am I prepared for a spiral? Am I
Exactly.
do I set those therapy appointments up now, or like what how am I gonna go forward with this? So yeah, I can't wait to delve into it and see the public version of
I
yours.
hope you like it.
I'm sure I will. I couldn't get through the first book fast enough. I'm a slow reader, and I got through your book in just a couple of days. When I was my husband goes to a conference every year where they pay for he and I to go to some really warm destination, and it's bougie, and I get to be poolside. And
Nice.
he's in meetings from like 8 to 4 or 5, and I get to do whatever I want. So I take books and I sit by the pool and I read. So that's how I read. That is what I did. And actually, I think I even have in January, it should come up as a memory where like I have your book, champagne, and the beach in the background. I'm pretty
Oh, I
sure.
love it.
I'm pretty sure
Oh,
that
make sure you share it and tag me in it.
I will. I will. I'll definitely tag you in that, because that'll be coming up. That'll be coming up in mid-January, because we'll be on another conference trip. And we just plan on me going every year. So all right. So let's see, what else do you have going on? I want to hear about your retreats, so I can talk my husband into letting me come to one. Talk about your retreats. What kind of things do you do at your retreats? What made you start them? Just talk to me about them. I want to hear about them.
I just think nothing beats a weekend or a week where you leave your life behind and you get to focus on your development. There's nothing else like it. So that was kind of my feeling for it, was I want to hold a space for people to just have time away where there is nothing but like-minded people and spirit work. And that's it. And being in that kind of energy. And so that was kind of the thinking behind it. So next year, I've got my annual January one, which is suitable for beginners. And that's it's Thursday to Sunday, and it's like one big circle. We work in all the different frequencies of energy, some psychic work, some spirit guides, some healing, some trance, some evidential, and everyone gets to do a little bit of everything. And that's always just really magical. It's January. I only picked January because I get seasonal affective disorder after Christmas.
Yes.
And so I was like, right, I'm going to have something to look forward to. So that's what we
Right.
do. And then I've done a couple of summer ones, but this year I'm doing an event in Glastonbury, which is all evidential mediumship. That one's sold out. So that's really, really exciting that we've booked the venue. They're going to be demonstrating on stage. And in June, I've got my friend Jennifer coming from Texas, and we are doing an international evidential week. That will be the one, Lorenda, because we're going sightseeing. So we're doing Dover Castle. We're going up to London for the day. We are going to Canterbury Cathedral and for afternoon tea. And then Jennifer and I are demonstrating. And then we've got a 2-day evidential workshop following
Well,
that.
let
So
me know, because I'm also a really good teacher and demonstrator. I'm just saying, if you ever need any guest mediums, I'm just saying.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think that'd be amazing. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely get those
Yeah.
dates from you because every summer I'm like, honey, Europe is calling me. It just keeps calling me.
It's the time to go. You wouldn't want to come now. I mean, the Christmas lights are okay, but we've just reached our grey season where
Yeah.
it is now grey for the next 3 to 4 months.
Oof.
Just
At least,
grey.
at least here in Indiana, it might be frigid cold, but we at least have sunny days while it's frigid.
Yeah, just grey and mud, grey and mud.
Right, right. But honestly, coming from where I come from, any day in Europe is a good day. I don't care. I like rainy days here annoy me. Rainy days in Europe, I'm like, I'm in Europe. Who cares?
Yeah.
I just
Wow.
don't care because it's a whole different vibration. It's a whole different setup. But yeah, I keep telling my husband, I'm like, I need to go do something spiritual in Europe, in the UK. I need to go connect with people over there. And he's just like, whatever. Blah, blah. So I just need to book the trip and go. And then he'll be like, but wait, what? We're doing what? Like, I mean, you can come if you want, dear, but I'm going across the pond for the week.
I'll have fun.
I
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
I do love that. So and what else do you got? What else do you have coming up? What else can we look forward to coming up from you?
Well, I'm actually being very good for me at the moment and trying to reduce my Capricorn tendencies and allow some ease.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. It will last for at least a week. So I've been working on mini guides because I have got writer's fatigue, but I cannot stop creating.
Okay.
And so I've got 6, 7 mini guides out all about different aspects of mediumship so that there's bits if you grab and go. So I started with an overview. I've got one on evidential, one on healing, one on psychic, one on spirit guides. I'm just writing the fear filter at the moment and working through that. So they're fun. I'm carrying on with my teaching, which is, you know, my favorite. I'm doing a small number of readings. My podcast, season 8 of Mediumship Matters, launches in January, which is a Spirit Social Meet the Creators special. So it's all of the lovely people that are giving up their time and their energy to provide stuff for the app. You're going to hear their stories. And we're working on Spirit Social Creators book with all of their stories and how they came to be here. That is due to be published sometime around Easter. So I'll be working on that next year. I mean, I'm spinning 1,000 plates. I don't know
Right.
where,
So
but that's me taking a break.
I was gonna say your break sounds kind of like my break would be. Like there's no actual break because your wheels are constantly turning. And when you have downtime, you're like, oh, but now I have more ideas. But now I have
And
more
ever
ideas.
since somebody recommended Elizabeth Gilbert Big Magic to me, it was Emily from Emily and Her Stars. And in that book, I don't know if you've listened to it or read it, but Elizabeth Gilbert talks about how ideas, to me, the way she describes them, it's like they're fae or like an orb or like energy, where they will visit you, but if you don't do anything with them, they'll go find somebody who will. And it has been really transformational for me. And which is why when the idea for Spirit Social came in, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm
Jumping
doing
on.
it now because I just felt like it was such a good idea. And I really felt like it came from spirit. And I thought, if I don't do this, somebody else will. The idea will visit someone else.
I've heard actually somebody else kind of use that analogy as well. And it actually may have been that same book that they were talking about, that the ideas come in, they're like, hey, pss, 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 and either you take it or they're like, oh, you're not going to do anything with it. Well, this is too good of an idea not to do. And that, what's the name of that book again?
It's called Big Magic.
Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yeah. I listened to it on audiobook. It's a brilliant audiobook.
That's my favorite thing to do. Listen, you need your books on audio so I can get through them faster.
I tried, but they don't like me.
Oh,
They've got such specific requirements for sound, and I did my best. And then it was too quiet, and I was like, "Do you know what? You're annoying me." But that is something that's on my project list for January.
to get that done because that's my issue, is if I have enough time to sit down and read, then I'm just like nodding off because I'm so busy and
Yeah.
so tired. But except when I'm at a beach, I'm getting that sun and prana and all
Oh
that.
yeah, for sure.
So that's how I get through my books faster, is from beach. So I'll check that Big Magic out. Because I've heard other people kind of refer to that same concept of like the ideas come in, and if you don't do it, they'll take it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so but then being that overachiever that I am, I'm like, but how do I take on all the ideas? How can I spin all of these plates? People say to me all the time, they're like,
Lovely.
I don't know how you sleep. I'm like, do I?
I mean, I sleep well. This is the thing. People say to me, I don't know how you do everything you do. And I'm like,
Just do
just
it.
do it. And I think I probably should spend a bit more time procrastinating, but I don't. I just do it. Just
Just
get
do
on with
it.
it. Crack on. There's more time than you think.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other thing. And I have learned, I think now that I'm in my 50s, I've learned there are days, and I know I just need to be like, I'm not going to answer emails today. Not because I'm trying to be rude, not because I'm trying to shirk off responsibility, but I need to recenter, recalibrate. Otherwise, I'm going to be a train wreck trying to get everything done. So I think that is the key, is learning how to balance that work life, creative life,
Yeah.
because I also own a dance studio. Like,
Yeah, you do.
so when it's legit. We were like, I don't know how you do everything. I'm like, oh, I could do more. But also, I don't know how I do it either. I just do it. You just do it.
You just do it. Yeah.
Just do it. And if something comes in, then I'm just like, okay, well, I can't do that right now, but I'm absolutely going to do this. How do I at least put it into the ethers, plug it into a please hold? It's like you don't have a busy signal. You just put them on hold
Yeah.
when they call in.
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy too. Ooh, Spirit's full of really good analogies today.
They are always.
I know. So, as we are kind of wrapping no, just kidding. I want to go back to your podcast. I do want to, because I started to ask you about this earlier, and then you brought it up, and then I got sidetracked because ADD rules my world. What made you decide that you should start your podcast? Mediumship Matters, by the way, is the name of our podcast, and it is so good. I like that they're reasonable lengths. I can binge listen to them if I need to. I just keep them in my ears and just go one after another. What inspired you, besides the little fairy orb, to do a podcast?
Rage.
Oh,
Furious rage. You know how they say there's no bad emotions? There really aren't. And spirit know how to get stuff done through me. And I get peed off enough. I'll get it done. And so I had been on Facebook watching quite a famous medium in the UK do a live. And I was really trying to do that thing where I'm trying to work out her formula, how she's made herself successful. What has she got that I haven't got? What is she doing? How is she sharing?
I do
So,
the same thing.
yeah.
The same thing. Yeah.
So I was watching her, and she said, sharing this live into all your groups builds a bridge to the spirit world, which makes your loved ones able to come through. And I went, no, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. I can't possibly have heard that. Nobody could say that with a straight face. That's straight up fraud.
Right.
And I rewound it
out loud.
Yeah, I rewound it, and she did say that. And I was like, I should have checked with you, Lorenda, whether I could swear, so I'm just going to mouth
Absolutely.
it. That doesn't count, does it?
We are fine here.
I was like, that cannot, and I was furious. So I did this video. I've made some bad fashion choices. I'm well aware of that. I am not a stylish person. And I was wearing this dark purple lipstick and a stripy t-shirt. And a lot of people saw that video. And if I'd known that they'd seen that video, I would have really tried to be a bit more cool. But anyway, so I did this ranty video where I was just like, that's misinformation. Your loved ones in spirit are always with you. Because all I kept thinking about was, if you're a mum who's lost a child, or a dad who's lost a child, which to me is all loss is horrendous, but that for me is always my bar. What is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me personally?
Yes.
It's that.
Yes.
And so I thought, imagine if you've lost your child and you're watching this and you're thinking, my child didn't come through on that live because I didn't share enough. As
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
was just fuming. And I recorded the video and explained how it works and that spirit are omnipresent, they're always there and blah, blah, blah. And then couldn't stop thinking about it. I was waking myself up at night, grinding my teeth, thinking about it. And I said to Spirit, you've got to take this away. Like I'm angry. I'm not supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be spiritual. I'm
And love
supposed to be
and light.
sending love and light. Love and light. And I'm literally pretty close to hexing someone. Like, and and they said, if you don't like it, what are you going to do about it? And it was as clear as a whistle. And you know how it isn't always. That one was literally like a mic drop. And I went, and then I just knew that I wanted to share. And for me, I think all the way through my development, I was the one that asked questions, 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 and teachers would go, and oh God, she's got another question. And I remember really clearly a teacher telling me that the mechanics of mediumship were not important. It was doing the mediumship. And
Oh,
to
not
me, I'm a very literal person. I need to know how it works and why it works the way it does so I can do it. I need it to make sense to me.
right.
And so I've spent my whole journey asking, questioning. And, I was lucky enough that I started in a spirit guide circle. So my connection with spirit guides was good enough because no teacher could deal with my insatiable need to know, but spirit could. So I
I love
asked and I
that.
asked and I asked and I asked. And then I just had so much information and I just don't feel like it's mine. I feel
Mm,
like my job is to share it.
yeah.
That's it. My job is to get what I know. I don't have any desire to hold on to it. And I
Right.
think I'm really lucky in that I don't actually really want to demonstrate on my own. I have no desire to be doing a whole night on my own. It's too much pressure. I want to be in a Scooby gang. I love Buffy. I want a gang of people where we can share the workload. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And so that's all I've ever wanted. But because that's all I've ever wanted, I've given everything I've got to every student, to every podcast listener, in every book I've written. I'm not holding stuff back so that
Right.
you have to sign up for me. I trust that I will have more information to give because I've given it all away.
Right.
And so that was the longest answer in the world to your question. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. It was good. Less I have to think and talk. Are you kidding me? No, but I'm with you on that. And also, you are one thing I do respect so much about you is that you do share information. You're not a gatekeeper. You are a girl's girl. When I reached out to you, you're a very busy person. You didn't even bat an eye. You were like, absolutely, let's schedule that call. And I got questions about, I want to do this work. I want to do it. I just don't know what's the logical first steps. I'm doing the same thing is what you're talking about. You were doing, watching these other people going, what's their formula? What are they doing? What am I not doing? How am I not doing in the things? And you graciously were like, here's the knowledge. You're not a gatekeeper. And I appreciate that. And I try to be the same way. Actually last night in my all level spiritual development class, I invited my mentor to come in and teach spiritual anatomy. It's funny you're talking about, I like to know how it works. It was literally a science class on the anatomy of spirit, the different bodies. And what I loved most was my students were asking some of the best questions. And my mentor, which is why she's my mentor, was like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing question. Let's delve into that. And I'm telling you, for those of you looking for teachers, those are your kind of mentors. Those are your teachers, the ones who are willing to share. They're not trying to gatekeep you. They're not trying to tell you, well, you should not be practicing this until I give you permission.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. And you should have many teachers. You should have many people in your community. Be part of a community that's supportive and willing to share. And that's what I really, truly do love about you and what you bring to the table with your books, your podcast, with your retreats, with everything that you put out there. You embody community, and I love that. And you're not afraid to be yourself. So I feel like we're spirit animals, really.
Absolutely. I mean, I tried not being myself and it just didn't work.
It doesn't work
And that
out.
sounds funny, but it's true.
It's
I
too much
tried
to keep track
listening
of.
to like Josh Groban as people arrived for Dems and, you know, wearing business attire and not swearing and all of that stuff. And it was just more of the same. And that's the whole point. You're supposed to be who you are. Your soul chose you to be you.
Right. And that's the other thing too, is like, I look at it as like, if spirit has encouraged me to be this way this whole time, why would I try to be somebody completely different in these spaces of where I'm sharing spirit? You know, I feel like I'd be doing them a disservice. They're the ones that guided me down this tunnel. So look, if you don't like it, this is on you.
Absolutely.
You get what you created. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and chat with everybody and to share your knowledge and for just doing what you do and creating this amazing community in this spiritual walk that we're on. And I just truly appreciate you. And make sure you guys are all following, make sure, and in the YouTube, I'll make sure to go and put all the links to to all the things. So that way you guys can make sure to follow Hannah and check. Your books are both available on Amazon.
Yes.
I got both of them on Amazon. And you got Spirit Social and your website.
It's hannahmedium.co.uk.
There you go. Hannah Medium.
Thank you for having me. It's been really lovely to see you and catch up.
You too. All right. So everybody, I'm going to say the goodbyes. Hannah, hang out for a minute. You and I'll talk once we do my fancy outro. You ready for this? I'm so bougie now. I'm like so cool. I can't stand myself sometimes. All right. Thank you everybody for joining in. Make sure you guys are following Hannah on all the socials and doing all the things, and make sure you're following me. And I will not see you. This is my last show until 2026. So I will see you all in the new year. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. What are all the things? All the things, and Happy New Year. All right. See you all soon.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe now and we will see you next time on the Crown